Hey guys, still here and welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Today I have a crisis in Agadir. This is a scenario that was written up by NatdeNat in the comment section from the previous video, as requested. The story is as follows. The German Empire demands compensation after the French started to send more forces to Morocco. It turns sour and at everyone's surprise, the United Kingdom decides to side with the German Empire in this argument. While none of their ships set sail, they break their alliance pact with France and Russia, leaving the Germans free to mobilize and threaten the country in a series of low-intensity skirmishes across the border. At sea, the German Empire sends a fleet of fast new ships to enforce their demands and, if possible, to sink the French convoys of troops to Agadir, and the French fleet sails out of their Atlantic ports to block them in the North Sea. German technology is going to be more modern due to the massive investment done in the past few years. It'll be set around 1908 to 1910. The fleet will consist of 2 battlecruisers, 5 heavy cruisers and 6 destroyers. This, unfortunately, is where I ran into a limitation of the game. Because I don't have any heavy cruiser hulls for Germany. If I go back to 1908, I do, however. So with this, I can make it work. So that means no light cruisers, but 5 heavy cruisers. Their French adversaries would have a more massive fleet, but the lack of investment in that field after the alliance with the UK is hard to compensate. Their tech level would be 1900. Their fleet consists of 3 battleships, 5 heavy cruisers, 3 light cruisers and 6 destroyers or torpedo boats. I am going to design the German battlecruisers, that historically were thought of more as pocket battleships than supercruisers, just because the more you know. And we'll have to use that small bit of tech advantage over the French fleet to try and keep them at bay. The battlecruisers need to have a speed of at least 31 knots, and the maximum budget for them is high. Since they're brand new, and Germany will have little experience in designing dreadnoughts, some choices of configuration are, well, interesting. And I have to pick either side-mounted guns or other strange ideas in naval architecture, if possible. So that's going to be a very, very nice design tweak. Starting positions would be 10,000 meters apart only, due to the poor weather of the North Sea. It's sad that you cannot pick the weather, as Nat writes, because that, well, it would be a really neat way to set the battle condition. The victory conditions are to either scatter or destroy the enemy fleet, but more importantly to keep the battle cruisers alive, seeing as they're quite the costly investment and need to be examined after the battle for improvement. So this is going to be the lineup: 1908 tech for the Germans, 1900s for the French. The French, 3 battleships, 5 heavies, 3 lights and 6 destroyers, versus my 2 modern, well, modern-ish, but weird battlecruisers, 5 heavy cruisers and 5 destroyers. Nat, first of all, thank you for writing up this very interesting scenario. I hope that I can do it justice. So let's see what sort of weird designs I can come up with. Battlecruiser. The goes the curve first. Sure. Now, since my budget is high, I'm going to go with a pretty high displacement. Range is not going to be a factor. Bulkheads to max. Engine. Either steam multiple expansion engine or steam turbines. This is significantly more powerful, but also engine cost. But then, as he mentioned, the budget would be high. Let's go for semi-oil, forced boilers, an auxiliary petrol engine, and advanced propeller shaft 1. Armor type, I can go as high as Krupp 2. Yeah, let's do that. And then, how would the Germans have designed these? They were designed and thought of as pocket battleships rather than supercruisers. So it would be a very survivable ship. So for starters, it would probably have a double bottom and reinforced bulkheads. It would probably have an anti-flooding system of some sort. Maybe a lighter anti-torpedo protection and barbette armor. On top of that, an underwater protected deck of tier 2. Okay. So those are the, let's say, the outlines of the ship. Then for the armament, Jesus, you can already get this? Electro-hydraulic turrets? Oh, it is German engineering. Who knows? Enhanced autoloaders or enhanced gun reloaders. And torpedoes, I can go as high as 18-inch fast torpedoes. Maybe I'm going to have torpedoes, but more of a second option than a prime. Now, as for the propellant, Lyddite 1 and Lyddite 2 are mostly HE spammers. White powder, it just does a bit of everything. Cordite is again back to HE. Let's go for white powder. Highly effective material to use either as an explosive charge or propellant and safer in storage than earlier gunpowder. Right. As for the tower, 11 base aiming speed. I'm looking at long range accuracy mostly. Yeah, the advanced tower 5 is the best for that. Plus 20. Now, the Germans would go for an interesting alternative design, as they said. Since they're brand new and Germany has little experience in designing dreadnoughts, some choices of configuration are interesting. Side-mounted guns or other strange ideas of naval architecture. Well, let's see what I can whip up. Rear tower. This has less smoke interference. Yeah, this one, the 4 and the 5 have no smoke or less smoke interference. With this one does. It's damage control. Yeah, this one's just overall the best. Let's see. What I'm thinking is putting guns amidships. So I would have a dual barrel here. And then... oh, it doesn't quite fit. Hold up. Let's rotate the tower. Because why not? No, not side guns, centerline guns. 279mm. Something like that. If that's not a weird design, then... hold up, maybe... let's just go nuts. I'm afraid I couldn't put any barbettes up there, could I? No mounts, no mounts. Nothing. Yeah, the only mounts for barbettes are up there. Never mind that. Casemate guns. 178. Mark 3, Mark 3, Mark 3, Mark 3. Alright. If these are set up to be raiding convoys, then I think this 178mm barrels could be very helpful with that role. How much is my weight distribution? Pretty good. Oh crap, I need a funnel. Heh. No way. What? You're not supposed to fit there. It does fit. See, it's clipping through the model, I think. But hey, this is German engineering. We do what we want. Ship is overweight. Yeah, you don't say. Maybe I have a few too many funnels on it right now. Ship's still overweight. Engine efficiency is only 83 though, 83.7. What if I go with, well, either a bigger ship. Oh crap, I still need to add rangefinders. Stereoscopics. Advanced radio. I would also love underwater torpedo tubes, but they're very hard to fit. Like, I don't have a lot of room for them. And the underwater mount is the only thing I have available. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to tear off the rear tower. It's still overweight. Slow it down. There. 32 knots does just about put me below the limit. Now there is one other idea that I could go with. And that's to put these in side mounts. These are 279s, right? Yeah. Like that. If I do it like this, I could shrink the ship down a bit. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Pretty good field of fire as well. Remarkably so, actually. And then... Oh, it's... The problem over here is the displacement. Because I would love to put just another gun over there. I'm afraid I cannot have them pointing for... Oh, maybe I can. Hold on. Turn around. There you go. Ship is overweight. Ship also has a lot of forweight offset. That's not helpful. No, I cannot push it back any farther. Kicking off the front aux guns doesn't really help. Ship's still overweight. This is just going to make the ship a lot bigger. What's my armor like? Pretty decent. I'm going to switch this back to the alternative. No, that one. Because I'm so used to seeing this in inches, not in centimeters. These are, by the way, 11-inch guns. Which is pretty big for a battle cruiser, come to think of it. What if I go for 10? That would save me some weight. No, I can make this work. I can make this work somehow. Let's get rid of that range. Can I go to Barbette too? Yeah, but it doesn't really save me yet. 7.5 belt armor. 4 belt extended. We're still not there. Bit less on the conning tower, but no, the conning tower is really not adding that much. Oh, this is going to get painful for the turret. I don't want this. 7 inches. Okay. We got only a few casemate guns here. Let's go for a couple of different casemate guns to make sure that I can use something that fires faster, especially at destroyers. Because these only fire every 16 seconds, but these fire every 10 seconds. The range, however, is about 3 kilometers less. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some parts are badly placed. Really? Don't you go insulting my turrets now. These things are perfectly placed. Some parts are badly placed. Come on. That 4 weight offset is going to be very difficult to get rid of, though. The only thing that I could imagine is just moving these turrets slightly farther back. And maybe I can make it work like that. So side guns, 11-inch. No, it doesn't want to go any further back. So the main island then. 3%. 0.3%. Maybe I can still fit some tubes, some torpedo launchers. Port and starboard. Bow. Stern. Reload time. 180 seconds. Nice. Let's get a few sizes bigger. Yes, well, one size bigger. 16-inch. 16-inch torpedo tubes. Which can still land quite a hefty blow. So, this is my weird design for a battlecruiser. Weird indeed. I don't know if the Germans would actually come up with this, but who knows. Let's take it to battle and see what other designs the AI has drafted for me. Battlecruiser funnel 2 is... well, it's required but missing apparently. Alright, hold. What do we have? We got the Große Kurfürst and the Ostmark. Over here are the destroyers, armed with 18-inch torpedoes. Oh, we're gonna have to hand deliver these things. They're only 3.2 kilometers out. Alright. Heavy cruisers. 7-inch guns. 1 section bow, 1 section stern. A whole bunch of 4-inch, a couple of 3-inch, 2-inch, a lot of 2-inch in fact, and torpedo tubes, port and starboard, at a range of 3.1 kilometers, at, well, fairly respectable speed of 42 knots. Right. How about the British? Sorry, the French. Am I looking at a heavy cruiser? Oh, and you think my funnel placement is bad? Look at this guy. 2 there, 1 there, and 1 there. And you thought my jokes were bad. Sorry, that was my worst Joker impression. Where are the battleships? Or are these the battleships? They might be, actually. They might very well be. Alright, destroyers. I am sorry to say it this bluntly, but you're all expendable. Because my objective is to sink the enemy fleet. Or to scatter them. And beyond that, save my battlecruisers. So that means that my others, my DDs, well, you're a bit expendable, really. 438 shells. I hope that's going to be enough ammo. Let's not fire at the DD. Because I don't really believe that I'm going to be able to hit that. Or is that a light cruiser? They do have... Yeah, it's a light cruiser. And it's a damaged light cruiser, in fact. It's a pretty heavily damaged light cruiser. It's almost flooded? Are these French warships without bulkheads again? It's also being heavily focused fired by everything, it seems. Even the 5-inches are actually working out. It's trying to fall back. Trying to get to a better position in the fleet. So that the other warship, whatever that is, can take the lead. That does mean that it's really slow. It might be inside of a smokescreen, but I'm not sure if that's going to save it right now. Ooh. More pretty lights in the sky. Who's that? Is that the battleships then? Over here? Yeah, it might well be. It might very well be the battleships. Alright, can we hit that? Out to a range of 17. Yeah, we do have a decent chance to hit. Battle cruisers, go for that. And slow down, because we are losing out on a lot of accuracy. Stick with the fleets. Heavy cruisers to full speed. Destroyers also to full speed, but with a whole different mission profile. I'm going to hold off on them for the moment, to see if we can actually get rid of the light cruisers first. Those are a big risk to my DDs. If I can kill off a couple of these first, preferably using all the heavy cruisers. If those 3 lights that the French have are gone, I can push in. One of the heavies has taken a scratch of damage, but not nearly as bad as that light cruiser. That's currently falling out of formation. Ah! The other one, whatever its name is, not doing very well either. Good. So definitely first blood to the Germans so far. What's your speed, Orion? 4.6 knots? I know I told you guys to reduce speed, but not that bad. This is a bit more than I had bargained for. Speed up. Speed is survival. And survival is something I would very much like to see. The heavy crew... No, the battle cruisers in the meanwhile are already causing flooding on this battleship. Very good. Very good. DDs are just plowing ahead right through the other division. Oh, formations, guys. Let's go to ×2 speed. Heavy cruiser, potentially a heavy cruiser's coming in. Identification 80%, 72% on the battleships. And I just lost line of sight of that other light cruiser. Or, well, rather both of the light cruisers that were more or less pushing through. There's another full healthy ship. What are you then? You're a destroyer. Definitely. I'm seeing one torpedo tube, a second tube, side-mounted guns, one gun there and one gun there, and one on the bow. So it's really not that threatening, because most of the firepower from destroyers just comes out of the torpedoes. Speaking of torpedoes, the Devout has torpedoes at a range of 3. Sorry, it's a French ship, the Davout, probably. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Also the Admiral, or something to that extent. You are a French ship, right? Yeah. I need to thin out their numbers. This is helpful. This is very helpful. You're going down quick. The Flandre has taken some flooding, but is pumping the water back out. Battle cruisers. Take out the heavy cruisers first. There goes the first kill. First blood to the Germans. Ship sunk. Next target, heavy cruisers. Target Davout. What's the speed of the Davout? 16.7 knots. Top speed of 20... No, that's my ship. Top speed of 21.5. The cruiser line is in position. So far my ships are doing pretty well. The only suspect of dying first is the Orion. It's taking a bit of fire. A few bulkheads though. That's a poor design decision. Oh, ammo detonation on the Davout. Ship is on fire pretty much everywhere, and with minimum bulkheads, that fire is going to continue to burn throughout the ship, dealing structural integrity or dealing structural damage as it continues to rage. If it takes over the ship is doomed and will sink. We also got the Chevalier Pool. Also been hit a bit. Jeez, you got really short range torpedoes. 1.6. And I thought my ships had suicide range torps. This is even worse. Flooding, and there goes the Davout. Second ship sunk by the Germans. Next target. Chevalier Paul. I want to get rid of this DD because it seems to be steaming directly for the last of the heavy cruisers. And in the meanwhile, the Ostmark and the Grosse Kurfürst haven't really been able to hit. We need to get these guys to plow through. Chevalier took another good hit. Their accuracy is so bad. 0.7, 1.6, 0.9, 1.2. Implacable, or maybe the French would pronounce it as implacable. Flandre, 0.7. 0.7 again. Yeah, you're targeting destroyers. Of course you're gonna have a bad aim. Oh, speaking of, set smoke screen. So the V5 is about to lose a lot of health. Battle cruisers are now, as intended, cutting through the division of the heavies. Need to get rid of the guns here. Oh, that was a good one. I can't see whatever I hit, but I think it was a destroyer. Heavy cruisers, what's your range? 10.9. So you can hit the destroyers, and you might be able to hit the heavy cruiser. Your accuracy... it's probably not going to be great, but I just need it to be good enough. These two DDs are very far out front. Torpedo range of 3.2 is still nowhere near. But I'm just waiting for my opportunity to intercept those battleships, which are capable of doing 28.5 to the French credit. They're capable of going really quick, really quite quick. The big question is it going to save them? The heavy cruisers are definitely not going to be capable of keeping up with these ships. They're only doing 20 knots. Minimum bulkheads as well on the heavy cruisers, which this one is probably swearing and cursing at right now, as it has no way to stop the flooding. That slows down the Thionville pretty severely, making it an even easier target for both the Ostmark and the Kurfürst and all the heavy cruisers. Ostmark now seems to be drawing a lot of fire, but I'm not sure what the caliber of those shells is. If it's just DD rounds, then I might not have to worry. DDs, I want you to come right, because the battleships are moving away from you. And I'm not really too confident to charge into a heavy cruiser that has a bunch of secondaries like that. Ammo count looks good. Although the heavies, they've already expended half their ammunition. These guys started out with about 500 rounds of ammo. 221 per gun. That is not good. Finalizing is taking some damage. You can see some impacts here and here. No, sorry, that's the anchor. Where's the other impact? Surely it's been hit more than one time. It's been hit by a parcel pen, bow deck, bow belt again. Oh, here on the side of the turret. That's where the damage is. And the Implacable has also been hit. Although I don't really know by who. By a battlecruiser a while ago. Okay, I didn't think that you guys were targeting that ship. But if we can put it out of commission, then I would be happy to. Ostmark has taken some damage. Structural integrity down to 97%. Where's the Kurfürst? Over there? Crap. Kurfürst, new target. I'm gonna have to redo the divisions a bit, because it's getting quite messy. Saxon, I need you to join the division of the Kurfürst over there, and same for the Orion. Join that one. DDs are still going around. The battleships are effectively placing themselves out of the fight. At 2 guns, sorry, 2 turrets with 2 guns each, and an accuracy of 1.3%, I'm not holding my breath to see whether they can actually hit anything. Oh crap, I'm having them join the wrong division. Orion, join Division 1. Saxon, join Division 1. There. The Ostmark, that's the solo one. You can have the Prince Eugen. And the Lützow. And the Gneisenau. That's going to be your group. You're going to keep pushing that way. Kurfürst. Kurfürst. I know that somebody recently explained it to me, but I have a lot going on. That DD is not a happy DD. Same for the Chevalier Paul. How about the... yeah, there we go. The Toureau has taken severe damage. Jeez, you pumped all of that out? Impressive. They must have some really good flooding, or rather counter-flooding capability. That is really well done. Implacable on that group, or sorry, that group against the Implacable, or Implacable. And this group against the Toureau. DDs are still biding their time. And so far I've already sunk 2 French ships, working on 2 more, which looks to be happening pretty soon, judging by the state of the Toureau. So far... oh, And there goes a DD. So far, the Germans are really winning this engagement. Ostmark, we're going to push in. Another flooding on the Implacable. Toureau seems to be flooding and on fire. Has lost all propulsion. I need a bit more. Look at that ship. At least she's not well, you know, she's listing pretty bad. She really is listing quite bad. In case you're watching the vid and you're not quite sure what the title of the game is, then you really haven't been paying attention. Because I do put that in the title, I do put it in the description, I do put it in the video itself, and I do put it in the thumbnail. So if you don't know what the title of the game is, you really haven't been paying attention. But there's always one or two trolls who always ask, oh, what's the name of the game? I just usually ban them straight up at this point. But if you want to play it, and you actually go and look for the game, you might find it on Steam, but it's not out there yet. You can get it, however, on the website that's actually from the game itself, where you can pre-order it. If you go for the more expensive version of the pre-order packages, you can immediately play it. DDs, we're going to intercept the well, maybe not battleships, but at least Dreadnoughts. They do have a lot of those secondaries, though. 5-inch casemates. Oh, that's not going to be pleasant for the destroyers. They need to bridge the gap to 3.2 kilometers. 6.9 range. Orion has taken some damage, but is alive. Switch fire to the duplex. Ostmark is now aggressively making a move towards the Implacable, which has taken on severe flooding. How are those side-mounted turrets working, by the way? Yeah, they just have the port one on target. Starboard one seems perfectly fine. But of course is entirely unable to be used. No hits, unfortunately, because that could have been a pretty easy way to get rid of that ship. Is he going to torp me, though? 3.1. Where are your torpedo tubes? Port and starboard. Right. Ah! Sorry, it's not the duplex, it's the duplei. Or rather, it was. DDs. Smoking up. Too late, though. The V1 just took a big hit and is flooding and on fire. That destroyer is going to go. The Tempest also goes down. First group, I want you to start intercepting the battleships. V2, range 4.7 kilometers. Keep going. 4.6. 4.5. How many torpedo tubes do you carry? 2. 2 doubles. So 4 tubes in total. Not a lot. I hope it's enough. The rest of the ships so far have all survived. Implacable is done for. V2 almost in torpedo range against the Béarn. Range 3-2. Torpedo tubes. Range 3-2. V1 sinks due to heavy flooding. As predicted, pretty much. That ship just cannot take a hit. My torpedoes travel at 42 knots. Range 2-7. Come right. Villars sinks. Target. Béarn. Come parallel and get ready to veer off as quickly as possible. Come on, V2. There we go. V2 has sent its torpedoes. The V3 almost in range. At least not in a very good firing position just yet. Kurfürst is now sailing parallel to the destroyers, sort of making use of the smokescreen. And going for the Béarn, although it only has one turret to use. Let's go for the Bovine. The torpedoes do look decent, but the Béarn has spotted them and is turning away. V3, new target. invincible. Or invincible, as the French might pronounce it. Detach, V3. Land those torpedoes, go for an aggressive launch. Torpedoes away. V2. No, you're not ready yet. Fall back. V4 is still falling back. Trying to join the formation. Bjorn has dodged everything. Back to the other group. The Ostmark group. Ostmark is working over the Turo. To great success. There's nothing left of the Turo. Just a burning hulk of a ship. According to the stats it is flooding, but I'm not really seeing any additional water enter the ship at the moment, so they might just about have it under control. 15, 16, it's... yeah, they're fighting it. Oh, about that. That settles that debate. Nice, torpedoes landed against the Invincible. One hit on the bow. The ship is flooding quickly. Standard bulkheads are not going to be enough to contain the flow of water that's now coming in through 5 compartments. Invincible might not be as invincible as the name implies. 18%, 15%. Where are my other DDs? Prepare for another attack run. Smoke ready in 2 minutes. What's worse for them? There goes the Invincible. Alright, grosse curvers. Turn hard to starboard. Get ready to engage the Flandre. Maybe the starboard tube can work. Yep, starboard tube has been sent. Come hard to port. Sorry, hard to starboard. This one has probably detected the torpedo. No, not yet. This is a standard torpedo. The one from the DDs were fast torpedoes. It still seems pretty oblivious. Save. Actually, hold. Hold, 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 hold. Because this does look good. This looks really good. Right there on the stern. No, it dodged! Oh, just by a little bit. Chevalier Paul sinks, very good. And now I don't have the speed to land that torpedo. At least not from the bow. Port side then. Come on. Port torpedo has a pretty small angle. There, torpedo away. Come hard to port. We're going to continue to dance around these ships. That torpedo has been spotted by the Flandre and it's trying to turn back to starboard. At this point, it goes to Kur first. Yeah, it's only using the bow gun. Oh, sorry, the port gun. Secondaries on the Algerien. Continue turning. Second group, Ostmark, how are you doing? Just charging in. DDs? Over here. They have sent a couple more torpedoes against the Béarn. The V4 has also sent, and this ship is now sandwiched. Torpedoes will hit it from here, potentially also from over there. Hit on the bow. Hit on the stern. 2 torpedoes crash into the Béarn. The ship is flooding on the bow and the stern. Let's see if these standard bulkheads are good enough to contain this. Let's detach the V5 and have it just finish off the rest. What? Hold on. V5. Oh, you already are detached. Good. Béarn? 3%? 2%? 0.4? Done. Ship sunk. Alright, now we still need to take care of the Flandre. Sirocco sinks. The French really don't have anything on the Germans. The Germans only lost 1 destroyer during this whole encounter. Look at that, all of these heavy cruisers are still healthy. Sure, they're almost out of ammo, but they're still fighting. Goes to Kur first. A battle cruiser is now working on its way, or working its way through the Flandre. Flandre seems to be swinging its turrets around again, looking to get another attack off. Kurfürst has reloaded the bow torpedo tube. I'm going to once again try and deliver that thing right on the ship itself. The V2 might be able to assist, depending on how quickly it can get to that battleship. And also on what sort of turns the battleship is going to make. Flandre. Stop running. Nice damage. Engines damaged and flooding. That'll make landing torpedoes even easier. The Flandre tries to return fire but misses all shells. Alright, range to target, 1.1 click. Torpedo when ready. Another couple of flooding hits. That'll slow the Flandre down even further. Bow torpedo away. Turn to port. Flandre is turning into the torpedo. It's turning starboard. No, it's turning port. It spotted the torpedo probably, and it's trying to avoid it, but it's already so heavily flooding that I'm not even sure the torpedo is going to be needed. Yeah, it is. More flooding on the bow of the ship. And the Flandre is done for. So that's all the battleships dead. Or dreadnoughts, if you want to call them that. Now we just need to wrap up a couple of heavy cruisers. My, did the Germans win this one. French started out with 3 battleships, 5 heavy cruisers, 3 light cruisers and 6 destroyers. And right now they're down to 3 heavy cruisers. That's all they have left. Ships that have taken damage are the Große Kurfürst, the Orion, Ostmark, and pretty much all of the destroyers, with one of the destroyers sunk. That's all that happened during this whole encounter. I lost 1 DD. They have already lost, out of their initial 17 ships... Oh, torpedo. Out of their initial 17 ships, they've lost 14. I'm not sure if the Ostmark can avoid that. Turning hard to port. Yeah, she's fine. Maintain full speed. Do I want to return the favor and send torpedoes their way against the Bouvines? Probably not required. More torpedoes in the water. Ostmark hard to starboard. Aggressive on the torpedoes. Try and get the torpedo on the... what's that? The Thionville. Torpedo dodged. Second torpedo will also be dodged. Severe damage on the Thionville as shells plunge into the belt armor, hitting below the deck, below the waterline. And as such, the ship is going down quick. The same is going to happen to the Admiral, as this ship, minimum bulkheads, is also flooding quickly. To make matters worse for that ship, Ostmark sends out a torpedo. 2 good penetrations, 1 detonating the ammo. Ship is immediately dead in the water and the torpedo flows by harmlessly. Last surviving French ship again tries to go for a torpedo, also gets its ammo detonated. And that was all of them. That was all of them. So this crisis in Agadir was decidedly and undoubtedly won by the Germans. Holy hell, those guys did a hell of a job. I really enjoyed this scenario. So again, NatdeNat, thank you for writing that up, and thank you everybody else for upvoting. If you have another great scenario for another future video, let me know down below in the comments. If you already posted one, then by all means, make sure you post it again in the comment section of this video, because I try keeping the different scenarios that you guys suggest, but it's way easier to just keep finding new scenarios in the most recent video. NatdeNat also wrote that this was his 3rd time of suggesting this scenario, so it took a couple of times before I actually picked up on it. Because, keep in mind, I get a ton of comments every day, and I try to read everything, but there is just so many of you, and only so much that I can read in a day. So if you have a great idea, I'm not ignoring you, I'm just being overflowed by the amount of content, or the amount of comments that are coming at me. So again, post it down below in the description. Ideally, what sort of scenario is it? The way that NatdeNat did it is a perfect scenario with a whole backstory. What I need to know is, what am I fighting? Who am I fighting as? That's the most important thing. We've got Germany, United States, Russian Empire, Italian Empire, Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Empire of Japan, Spanish Empire, the Chinese, and the British. That's the nationalities you can pick from. As far as eras go, we start as early as 1890 and we go as late as 1940. The later you get, the less chance there are for torpedo boat hulls. No hulls available, at least not for the Germans. So let me know in a comment what sort of scenario you would like to see in a video. How many ships? What type of ship? What sort of engagement? Or what sort of era? What sort of engagement range do we start at? All of these things, let me know for both my empire or my nationality and theirs. And, well, let's see what I can actually build. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, NatdeNat, thank you for writing up the scenario. Really good. And the Germans just absolutely kicked the French's ass up and down. So I think it'd be only fitting if Nat would write up, let's say, a continuation of the scenario. What happened after the Germans won this naval engagement in the North Sea? What happened to Agadir? Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I shall catch you soon for more videos.